It is 5:00 p.m. Go ahead and do a roll call vote. Our roll call to see who's present. Mrs. Harden?
Yep.
Miss Heredia?
Here.
I'm here. Secretary Terrazas?
Here.
And Mr. Guadiana?
Here.
All right. That moves us to our board norms. Item 1, actively listen to all perspectives.
Close the loop, responding to concerns and questions as a unified board.
Model the professionalism we expect from all members of the district and community, customer service orientation.
Assume positive intent.
Be positive and responsive.
Okay. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the New Mexico flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico for the symbol of perfect friendship among the united cultures.
Okay, that moves us to item E, our Kiwanis Student of the Month for February and March. I think he's getting situated. Mr. Pfeiffer, are you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna do February 1st. We're gonna go backwards if they want to hear.
Okay.
And he can bring, what up here too, they know. I'm on my way, sir. Why not? Let's start with the high school. Cobre Student of the Month for February last month is Christopher Springer. And this is from Mr. Grope. Christopher is such a bright light at our school. A senior, he is always willing to lend a hand and do it with a smile. If you ask any of his coaches, but don't ask your sister, he is one of our top student managers. If he is not helping clean our school, he works at the city of Bayard as part of our initiative zone students. He also helps put up our sound and video equipment for Mr. Hampton. His willingness to do whatever it takes to help out at Cobre High is why Chris Springer is our February Student of the Month. And don't drop stuff in the back. If you don't know, they get a place card and a bumper sticker. Don't leave because we're going to get pictures. Our Snell Middle School Student of the Month is Gianni. Gianni, is she here? You don't want to come up? Come on. Get up here. Imani Gonzalez. Miss Begay Rose.
The other Miss McGee.
The other one. Okay. She is a well-behaved student who is respectful towards others. She participates in class and is willing to help other peers. She is a team player when she works in a small group setting. She is always positive and smiling. You don't have to do that. Congratulations. We'll take your picture now, and then we'll do it. We'll do it for this one. You gotta be able to do it. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, I know. Awesome. Yeah, I know.
Now you are still on flash.
Okay, you don't want to get. Where's your name?
I already got it. We've done this how many times?
And then you can send it to my phone, I'll tell you this.
Congratulations.
No. I'll let you.
Delegating?
Yeah.
There you go. Up to paper. All right.
Okay.
You don't have big enough mouth like me.
I do, but it's for the people. Believe me. Hey now.
Hey, we really got started.
Okay, so student of the month, Cobre Student of the Month. And we're gonna have to call her by Cindy, because does anybody else know any other names? Come on. Mr. Gross wrote, Cindy is such a blessing to our school. She is a senior this year and is involved in a lot of things. That is an understatement. She participates in volleyball, Skills USA, NHS, softball. She was selected as a all-state volleyball player this year. Being selected. Gotta keep coming, don't worry. This year, while being selected all-state last year in softball, she recently signed with Nelson University to play softball post-graduation. On top of all this laziness that she does, she has a GPA of 4.28. There's nothing lazy about all you do, I was just kidding. You want me to tell you a funny story while we're together? You want to know, I was teaching with your mom when she was pregnant with you? That was a lot of years ago. So I have known you for a really long time. So, all right, hang on. You got a partner somewhere here. All right, Snell Middle School, Student of the Month. Jalen, come on down. Eighth graders. Jalen worked so hard to make our honor roll 4.0. Turns working on time, cares about students and teachers' well-being, and tries to be a good role model to those around her. She helps others in class and speaks up and answers questions when others don't. And I guess, well, softball's happening around here for us right now. And ladies, are you supposed to be at practice? You've got a game? Holy smokes, that's very good job. Remember, we got our major sluggers out right now. All right, so here you come. Whoop,
Oh, leave the pen there.
sorry, my bad. See when you hand off your job? Is there another one, or we missing?
Yeah.
Right behind you.
Behind you.
Look,
My bad. I even had it in my hand.
you got the right name to the right girl? Did you check?
Totally by luck.
Congratulations to our students. I think this is all our favorite part of the meeting, all the great work our students are doing. Good luck on your game.
You guys don't have to say.
Yes, feel free to go ahead and
Repeat.
do.
Thank you. You too. Congratulations.
Congratulations. So for item F, we did not hold the closed executive session. So that moves us to item 2, adoption of the agenda. Mr. Corey, is there any recommendations?
Yeah. There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, grab your pen. I got a lot here. So we've got a lot of people doing a lot of things, so we're trying to be respectful this evening. So as you just stated, item 1F needs to be removed. We also want to remove item 8D.
Remove, or are we going to table?
We're going to remove it.
Okay.
We're also going to remove 5B. Miss Tao had a sick child and was not able to make it this evening. And I already mentioned 1F. So those are the 3 removals. I would also like to move 6A, which is our science curriculum adoption presentations. And we don't have our student representative tonight. Okay, so to next. And then I would like to move right behind that item 8E, F, and G. And do I need to say them again? Because I know that was a lot.
So we're moving 6A right after adoption of agenda?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then you said 8.
E, F, and G.
I don't know if those principals are going to be mad at you over there because you're cutting into their time.
I know. It was, we had to go in order here. So we're hoping teachers, principals, you guys are going to be okay.
Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion with those changes. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, that moves us to 6A, science curriculum adoption presentations. I don't know in what order you guys want to do this, or
The order is there, but I wanted to talk about the process first of what
Okay.
we went through.
sure.
So as you know, we're on a 6-year adoption cycle for core curriculum. This year, we shopped for science curriculum. And what we did is we attended a curriculum presentation that the SWREC hosted back in March. So they brought in approximately probably 10 vendors for us to look at. And with that, I created a team of 2 teachers from each school and the principal. So they attended the presentations. Then from there, we narrowed it down to our top 2. And then from there, we had those top 2 vendors come and present to the entire school. And now I brought the elementary teachers, and Damon, Mr. Kearley, and Miss Nakona, and they will talk about their request of a curriculum for their grade levels. So we're going to start with the high school, Miss Grijalva.
Good afternoon. So I attended the science textbook adoption presentation. Then I also brought back some material that I got from there, and I brought it to the school. I looked at it. The other science teacher looked at it. I've also had other teachers who have taught science look at it. I even had some students review the material to see, just get everybody's opinion and see what we liked. Also took into consideration the beyond textbooks that we have right now and the state standards that we're required to teach. So I just kind of threw a presentation together. So, and I chose, what I did was I chose one standard to focus on, and that is I can develop and use models to explain the relationship of the structure of atoms to patterns and properties observed within the periodic table and describe how these models are revised with new evidence. And so just mainly, what are the 3 subatomic particles of the atom? And so that was the main thing that I just focused on, just one topic, so we can kind of compare. So there, one of the textbooks was Biozone. Biozone has, it's pretty much like a workbook. This one page is what they have, and it has 2 questions for that one topic. For me, it's good. It's simple. It keeps it simple, but it's kind of vague. So if I wanted to go more in depth, it's a lot harder. I have to pull a lot more resources from other places. The other one is the Savis. So this one is also more like a textbook. However, there are other books like the physics book, which is an actual textbook per se. The chemistry, the one that I focused on, it's not so much. It's more just of a workbook. And this is the page on the modeling of the atoms, and there's only one question at the bottom. So again, I'd have to pull more resources from other places. It doesn't go too much in depth. Then I did go through the Inspire Science, and the picture will come out next. This is more like of an actual textbook that we are used to. So it does have, you know, where they can pull in. And one of the things that I have noticed with the kids is they have become very dependent on technology, and they just want to Google the answers. And so that's where I'm like, guys, Google is not going to solve, you know, you need to know if you want to become doctors or whatever later on, do you want somebody who's going to Google how to do surgery on you? Or do you want somebody who's actually gone to school and learned how to do that? And so that's one of the things that I also took into consideration is stuff that we can go back to where they're actually going in and finding the answers instead of just using Google to try and get the answers. And this, with the actual textbook, they can learn how to use the index and the thesaurus and all that stuff to actually look up answers. So that was one of the benefits that I did like about the Inspire Science, is that it's an actual thick textbook. But even then, where it was, they have the online, the ebook, so students don't have to take the book home. They can use that ebook for home. And then in the classroom, we can actually use the textbook. And then HMH is the textbook that we have now. That one also is the workbook format. However, the HMH does have really few questions, and it does have a lot of gaps. So one of the things, like if I was looking at this topic, it kind of skips some information and then goes to a total different topic. So that one was where it was kind of confusing. And even when I first got here, when I was going through the textbook, I was like, this is what we're using. I was like, this is not even really what I'm trying to teach the kids. So that's one of the reasons this one was kind of out. So in reviewing all of this, our choice was actually the McGraw-Hill textbooks, and it's called Inspire Science, but they have a whole series. It's the biology, the chemistry, the physics. They also have the AP portion. So there's an AP book for advanced and just a simpler book for the regular classes. Not to mention, it also, one of the things that I do like about it, it has all these digital things too that come with it, like a notebook to help with note taking. The kids can do like the KWLs, like what do you know, what do you want to know, what did you learn? Then it also has PowerPoints for the teachers to utilize, especially like in my case where there wasn't a certified teacher in the classroom for half the year. This is good because it can also use the PowerPoints, but there's also something called the Learn Smart, which is like a customized learning. So say I had a student that was struggling on a topic, I can assign that topic and they can go back and do it on their own and kind of get refreshers. So that's another thing that helped. But all in all, we believe that the McGraw-Hill is probably our best bet for the high school. Another one was another tool, if we could, would be nice, would be the Physics in a Box. to help with labs in our physics classes, because I've used that before in a school district, and it's just one little box, but that one box has like over 100 labs for physics. And it's reusable. So that's about all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Ms. Chavita, are we able to purchase both that textbook and the physics in a box?
I wish we could. So I'll put it in perspective for you. So McGraw-Hill, the price for McGraw-Hill for 9th through 12th for biology, chemistry, physics, and anatomy and physiology was $41,000. One physics in the box, one, was $75,000. I met with him twice to try to get the price down. First, he quoted me $185,000 for all physics in a box. And I was like, oh, that's my whole budget for the whole year for elementary too. So I would like to, and that's what I told them. I told them, the high school team, I'm going to meet with them again. Maybe they'll give us a good price for one box, because one box could be a good supplemental with 100 lessons in there. We can use McGraw-Hill, and then we can use physics in the box for 100 lessons. So I was thinking maybe 30, 40,000 for one physics in the box. 75,000. That's just way too expensive for us right now.
Are we able to afford the McGraw textbooks, though, that they're asking for?
Yes, and I had to get Title I funding to use it, because in my instructional materials, I only have $220,000 this year, and I'm already have reached my capacity with K through 8th with their science curriculum. So we did get the approval to use Title I funding for the $41,000 to purchase McGraw-Hill. I mean, I don't know where I would get the $75,000 from. I'm already maxed out in my instructional materials budget. And Title I, we're already almost maxed out there.
Okay. Any questions? Any other questions?
There's a comment, and I really like the McGraw part, because you're talking about advanced placement, and we're really focused on trying to get people into the workplace. So workbooks probably won't get us there, a textbook, and then advanced
Right.
placement, I think, is a good way to go.
Right.
The other part is, where are we within the budget process to identify what resources are available?
So as soon as, that's where we're headed this week, is to budget conference. So hopefully we're going to have some solid numbers in coming back from that. But it has not been released yet.
But even before it gets released, it should be presented to the board prior to release.
How can I present it if I don't know it? It hasn't been released.
From somebody else.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, we're good. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, everybody. I'm the middle school science teacher right here. And like she said, we went to this adoption and we sat through several presentations and we looked at all of them. And within about 5 minutes, I knew that this Amplified was the one. I looked at Mr. Leon and he looked at me and we were like, yeah, this is it. For anybody that's taught middle school, it's kind of a unique age group. And to keep these kids engaged for more than about 8 minutes is difficult. And I think this can do it. A lot of it is online. A lot of it is engaging. The videos are professional. Like they actually have PhDs, professors from University of California stuff that actually mock conferences and mock emails and different things that actually send videos out. And two things that I really liked about it. Number one, the assessments. It does a lot of your assessments for you. It has the ability for you to modify them and to create your own and all that kind of stuff. But all the assessments are based on the same state testing standards, like the way the format of the way the assessment tests are set up. So if I give my students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade the same assessment, the same style, then hopefully it'll make them more comfortable on the state testing that they do every year, and that'll help them improve their state testing scores, because now they're more comfortable with the format. They see it all the time, therefore be more comfortable with it, and hopefully they won't be so nervous and it'll be a little easier for them. The second thing I like is I talk to these kids all the time about job. What do you want to be after high school? Right? Especially the 8th graders. It's like, you're going on to high school now. It's time to start planning. You don't have to make a hardcore decision yet, but you got to think about it. Right? So what this has built in is mini mock internships where these guys can be a biologist. They can work for the Forest Service. They can do this. And the curriculum's set up where after we get through a unit, it's like the final little process where they will actually go through like a 2-week mock internship and they have to solve a problem. They have to solve an issue where they have to use their brains in small groups or whatever that internship requires. And I think it opens it up to these kids to a world of science that they don't normally see here in Grant County. When I talk to these kids, they talk, oh, science, oh, there's the Forest Service, there's doctor, there's this. And there's so much more to science that you can do. I mean, science is a very broad field, and I think trying to get these kids into seeing what science has to offer, maybe we'll get more kids maybe focusing on their academics a little more to get to a good school and try to get those careers and all that stuff and get lined up. So those are the two things I like about it. And it's just the PowerPoints are more engaging. They actually, I had some of the students look at them myself, cut some of my ACE kind of, my student aid, Lucia Maloney, and some of those looked at it, they went through and they said, yeah, that would be a lot better than what we got right now. That would be. So that's why we chose the amplified. I'm kind of sad to hear about the physics in a box. We talked about it that day because I was trying to get some electives going with physics, and I don't think that's going to happen. That's a lot of money. But if we could find a way, come on, we could do car washes. All right, but so we chose Amplified, and it sounds like it is going to get approved, and I look forward to learning it and getting to know it better and executing it next year. Any questions?
Thank you.
Adriana Martinez. Good evening. I am the kindergarten teacher at Central Elementary. So elementary also chose Amplify Science. We're very excited to hopefully start using this program. Just a little bit of background. Amplify Science is a phenomena-based curriculum that provides educators with the opportunity to activate curiosity in their students by asking them to solve real-world problems. It is a research-based curriculum that provides students with the do, talk, read, write, and visualize instructional approach, which is proven to benefit all learners. The curriculum provides hands-on, inquiry-based learning that aligns with national and state science standards. It fosters critical thinking and problem-solving skills, offering a comprehensive approach to scientific exploration. This ensures that students are not only meeting academic standards, but are engaged while doing it. So some of the reasons that elementary teachers chose this curriculum were that the curriculum is designed for young learners, with student engagement being a top priority. The curriculum integrates digital tools, interactive and hands-on experiments, and real-world application, which help maintain that student engagement that we're always looking for. It's a mix of visual, tactile, and auditory learning, which will support diverse learning styles and making it accessible and exciting for all students. Another reason that we chose it is it's designed with the teacher's support in mind, offering us easy-to-follow lesson plans, assessment tools, and professional development opportunities. It also helps teachers feel confident delivering high-quality science instruction by the videos and lesson plans it provides for us. The curriculum also provides teachers with flexibility. One of the things that all teachers like is that the units can be taught in any order at any time of the year. So you don't have to follow it specifically. If there's something, for example, that fits better, like weather or planting or anything like that, you can choose to do that in the spring rather than having to do it right in the middle of wintertime. So we really liked that. A big selling point for teachers was also that it has a big literacy component to it. It was proven to improve literacy scores because of the literacy-rich resources throughout the science lessons. So not only will our students be learning science, but they will be improving their reading, writing, and arguing skills. So just some examples of the lessons and hands-on experiments. For kindergartners, they become engineers by designing a pinball machine for learning about pushes and pulls. First graders become marine scientists to help people understand what animals need to survive. Second graders become glue engineers to create a glue that is better than their school glue to help learn about the properties of materials. Third graders become engineers to explore how a train can float to learn about balancing forces. Fourth graders become marine scientists to figure out how dolphins can communicate with their babies to learn about waves and energy. And fifth graders become water resource engineers to help alleviate the effects of water shortages to learn about the Earth system. Something that they really focus on is having real world problems and having the kids work to solve those problems. So when we saw the presentation for Amplify, we all became very excited. The presenter really took the time to dive into the lessons, especially the hands-on parts, and he showed us all of the examples. So we were super engaged with the lessons, and we were really excited to teach science. So if teachers have that excitement, they take it back to their students, and our students will have that excitement as well. So that was really one of the main reasons that we chose it as well, just because of the level of engagement. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Chavita, I have a question about, with a curriculum adoption and as teachers, is there going to be professional development offered to go
yes.
along with these curriculums?
Yes.
So, okay.
Definitely. And again, the price point, again, on the curriculum for Amplify is kinder through 8th grade. And it was interesting that the middle school chose Amplify too, because I told them they don't have to go with the same curriculum. We go off the standards. So you choose what you like. And it was interesting to me that they both middle and elementary chose Amplify. The cost of the curriculum, just the curriculum, is $156,000. Okay, that doesn't include our high school curriculum, which is another $40,000. That's $200,000 right there, and that doesn't even include your PD yet, because the cost of the PD is another purchase order. So we'll probably spend about maybe $20,000 to $30,000 on PD for science next year.
Okay. And how long has it been since we adopted science curriculum?
I think it's been about 6 years, but remember, elementary never really had a science curriculum. So when I came aboard, there was a pilot program through New Mexico PED called Open SciAd. And I went ahead and enrolled Cobre into Open SciAd because it was free PD. The teachers also got a stipend for it, and it got us through. And Open SciAd was one of our choices as well, especially in the middle and high. It's considered a high quality instructional material. But I know the teachers didn't really like Open SciAd, but I think it's a good resource for them moving forward. It's something they could put in their tool belt, because I know there's some really great hands-on experiments in Open SciAd. But I knew that the majority of teachers were not going to pick Open SciAd, but at least it got us through not having a curriculum at all. We had no science curriculum for 5 years. So being in that pilot, we were offered a free program. We took it.
Thank you. Any other questions?
One on process in terms of, in the universe of curriculum, what exposure do we have? Just those that are here locally,
Well, what happens is that the state creates a list of potential curriculum, and we call it in the teacher world, the acronym is HQIM, which is High Quality Instructional Materials. And the state wants us to adopt off this list of HQIM. And vendors must go through a pretty rigorous process to get on the HQIM list. And so there is probably 4 pages of vendors for the HQIM list. And most of those vendors, a lot of those vendors did come to the presentations. And then from there, like I said, we had 2 representatives from each school. We narrowed it down. I would have loved to have taken every teacher that could go, because teachers need a voice in what they're going to teach. But what we did is we had 2 representatives and the principal, and then they narrowed it down to their top 2. And then from there, those vendors came to present to every teacher who wanted to hear. And it was interesting. Those teachers agreed with the committee that they liked Amplify and what was it? McGraw-Hill for high school.
thank you.
Thank you. So that moves us to 8E. Approval of bills, and these did go through the finance committee, or our last finance committee. Are there any questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the bills.
Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that is approved. Then we have F, approval of budget transfer 27502 technical education program. Mr. Ryan, if you want to go ahead and speak to this one, and this was presented at our finance committee meeting.
Yes, this is a transfer bar, and it's just kind of fixing from the initial budget, just putting in the right function, one of the stipends that we pay high school staff to implement this program. So I'm just moving it from the 1,000 function into the 2,400 function, which is support services. But nothing is changing. It's just moving from one function to the other.
And we did have a lengthy discussion in finance about stipends and how we've discussed that they needed to go the extra mile on top, like it's on top of their already assigned work duties. Because we were noticing a huge, a lot of people in the district having stipends. So that's something we're wanting to look at for next year. That is happening after their regular assigned duties. Any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I move that we approve the budget transfer 27502, the technical education program.
Okay, is there a second? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that moves us to G, approval of budget transfer 24189, Title 4. Is it Title 4?
Yes,
Title 4 funds.
yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Ryan.
And this one is a budget increase. This is to budget our carryover for the year for the carried over from the last fiscal year. When we built this budget, we anticipated we wanted to do whatever it took to keep our keep elementary counselors in place. And with the loss of ESSER funds last year, we thought, okay, this is what we could kind of supplement in order to keep an elementary counselor on board. So we budgeted this salary and this grant in anticipation of this carryover. And now that we do have this carryover from PED, this is just putting in the appropriate budget lines. It's salary, just a portion of the salary and benefits.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? See none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve budget transfer 24189, Title 4.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. That moves us to item 3, public input. Is there anyone that would like to give public input on agenda items? Is there anyone online, Caitlin? Okay. Anyone who'd like to give public input on items of concern? I'll ask again, Caitlin, but is there anyone online? Okay. Mr. Grapp said our student representative was sick. Hope he starts feeling better. Saw that he had a steak lunch. Was he one of the students?
He wasn't one of the perfect attendants. That was a bribe to make him my student.
Oh, okay.
That's why he wasn't. We're taking the perfect attendance student. I'm not part of this. You guys do it. I'll take the picture for you.
Okay. I was curious. All right. Item 5, our administration principals / directors reports. Item A, our special projects coordinator, Ms. Teresa Villa.
Good afternoon, Madam President, board members, and Mr. Corey. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the Parent Center. It's open, it's running. I heard you guys had your retreat there, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. And so as you saw, our conference table is there, and it's open daily. We have at least 10 families a week visiting, if not more. It's usually more than that. The other day I was there Thursday, and we had at least 6 of them there. So it's pretty successful. And then the next thing is Summerfest planning. We've already started it. I have about 45 booths and vendors, and that's not including the food vendors. And 20 of them reached out to me. So it's actually really good. And then we are in the ordering process. It's begun for backpacks and school supplies. And also for Title IX, the old rules are still in effect. So the new ones aren't going through anymore after our new, codes. So all of that stuff is still on the website. I get on there just to make sure everything's accurate on there, and our team members are on there and their contact information. So you can still report on the website as well as calling me or any of the team members. So, you guys have any questions?
I just had questions about school supplies. I think we talked about this last year, about teachers being allocated the money to purchase the supplies for students. Is that a possibility? Because I know like for different grade levels, they require different things. So like for elementary, of course, crayons are needed. It's going to be different for high school. And it is a process they use in Silver that has worked pretty well.
I'm not sure. I know that Freeport is the one that donates to Summerfest, and those are the funds that we use for that. So I'm not sure.
Is that a possibility of looking into that or talking to people in Silver and how that process goes? I mean, it's been really good for me as a classroom teacher and saying, the things we need. And it varies from middle school to high school, but teachers can say, hey, you know what, I need composition notebooks, or in elementary school, like for example, I needed Ziploc bags for my classroom. And so we were able to get together as a grade level and decide what supplies we needed.
What about getting information from our teachers? Can they do it earlier and go that way?
Well, the teachers get to decide when Silver, we talk about what we would need all together as one grade level. For example, last year we needed tons of Clorox wipes, crayons, and like tons of crayons because they don't, like one box of crayons will not sustain a child all year long, not in the lower grade. I mean, you need boxes because they break, so you need lots of crayons. But in early elementary, they don't really need composition books. And early elementary, it's more crayons and pencils, erasers, Clorox wipes, those more important things. Differs at the high school too.
And what makes it nice too is, every kid is issued the same type of box. So there's no difference in their pencil box. There's no difference in the types of supplies they're bringing. So it's all uniformed and it's purchased in a bulk order.
Right. So the reason why we went this way, first of all, is because we get the money from Freeport, and the event that we have is for the community. It's not just for Cobre schools. So when we give out these supplies, I know last year, I think we had probably maybe close to 150 kiddos that were not even our kiddos that we gave supplies to. Now, when I did put the order through for the boxes, we did delineate what was in each box. We had a pre-K kinder box, then we have a first grade box, and then we have a middle and a high school box. So they are different. Now there are going to be some things that they need still, right? Because I did reach out to the teachers, what do you need in your boxes, right? So they helped with that. But if we have students that still need items, we can probably look at the budget to take that back to the school level and give it to the principal and say, okay, principal, you have $2,000. Your teachers are going to come to you and they're going to need more. This teacher might need more composition books. This teacher might need more pencils. But I did go to each of the teachers and say, what do you need? So hopefully the boxes are more useful this year. But again, the reason why we do that at Summerfest is because the event is a community event. It's not just a Cobre Schools event.
Is that stipulated for the funding? Is that why we have to do it that way, or?
Yes, yes, they know. And when they donated us the money report, they wanted it to be a community event.
Okay.
Yes, and I know we gave Silver lots of boxes too.
It's just frustrating as a teacher,
Yeah.
you get supplies and then
Yeah.
they're not really like
What you need.
Like I think of Marisela Silva at Hurley, she does her own system and
Right.
she has it down pretty well. And,
Right.
She requires them to give a certain amount, but we know that those supplies are going to be utilized.
Right. And what they are getting, believe me, they will need. It's not something that they're going to say, why did I get this paper? I don't use notebook paper. So again, we try to differentiate the boxes. So we have the pre-K and the kinder boxes and so on. But again, it's a starter box. Not all the supplies are in there. So moving forward, if they have kiddos that don't have those supplies, maybe we can somehow put it in their budget, their school budget, where the principal can purchase the remaining supplies.
Okay.
I think this was a discussion that was had last year, and the big difference between Silver and Cobre is that Cobre last year did ask the parents to buy supplies, an extensive amount. And I had hoped that at this year, that wouldn't be the case anymore. That teachers already get hit quite a bit, parents get hit quite a bit throughout the year, and it should be a district budget line item that should fulfill that need.
Right. And moving forward, I mean, I'm sure we can talk about that being in the budget and put any supplies lists out there at all. And whatever the kids come in with, and then the teacher can request from the principal, you know what? I didn't get enough composition notebooks. I need to order composition notebooks. So yeah, I can see that being possible. But we have to make that decision soon because supply lists will be going out probably, because we have registration next week.
Okay.
So you need to make a decision if we're going to do that or not, because then I need to let pre-K and kinder registration teachers know not to give those supply lists out.
I mean, I agree with Mr. Gladiano. We had a lengthy discussion. I also think, Ms. Heredia, you made a comment about looking at one of the lists and how pricey it could be.
Yeah. Especially for families that have multiple children.
Okay, any more questions, comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Tao is not here tonight. That brings us to our Hurley Elementary Principal, Laverne Martinez. You can sit there. We can take the microphone to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Brock was supposed to be a gentleman and help me, and he just fell asleep.
I wonder how this chair got up. Oh, that's right.
We can pass it now.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, good evening, Madam President and board members. Thank you for having me tonight. You're going to think I'm a slacker and not doing very much. This says celebrations and activities for the week of March 3rd through the 7th. But this is when I was supposed to originally present to you, and then I had to go on leave for my knee surgery. So I just kind of kept this the same. And so just in the front this is literally 1 week at Hurley Elementary, which we do a lot of wonderful things, from our house events to, celebrating our secretary and our social worker. We have our secretary for the day and our principal for the day, Miss Rose did a really great engineering activity with our third grade class that they had to present and make roller coasters. Great event there. And then, of course, our Dr. Seuss event that we had. So it was a great week of engaging activities. And, of course, our middle picture, our amazing basketball team. So thinking about what I needed to present to you all, I know I went over our data for our benchmark assessment. So I thought, well, let me show you a little bit of our data from our programs that we have. And so if you turn the page, what you're going to be looking at is our iReady assessments. And so this is from beginning of the year to middle of the year. So the first page, you'll see at the top that there was 12% of the whole school that was proficient in the iReady math assessment. At the bottom is the breakdown of 30% proficient, none in first and second, third 6%, fourth 17%, and fifth grade 17%. Okay, and then it gives you the breakdown of where we were in our numbers and operations in all those domains. And the next page, you'll see that there was a 27% growth. We ended up at 39% of students that were proficient. And then you could see on the side that I have the growth for each class. And so kindergarten, went from, 30% to 64% proficient. First grade is now at 18%, second 33, third grade 69% proficient, fourth 25, and grade 5 23% proficient. So that's a lot of growth. We know that iReady is a super rigorous program. I've always said that, but I feel like it really does help us to prepare for our IMES assessments and our summative assessments. So that's our math program. The next page you're going to see is just a kindergarten one-pager. They do not test on STAR. That's part of our accelerated reader program. And the STAR test it determines their reading levels and also gives us a grade equivalent for their comprehension, where they fall with that. But in kindergarten, our kindergartners, we have them reading. We get them started on their testing right away. So this is just a one-pager of where they're at. So I just kind of put a little note there that they've taken 808 tests this year, and they passed 684 tests, which I know you're like, oh, they failed a lot. But we know in kindergarten, they read a book and there's 3 questions. If they miss one question, they don't get a good grade. But they're learning how to take tests. This is a lot of their oral comprehension, and so this is getting them used to being questioned about their knowledge of a book and increase their comprehension. But they do have a 91% accuracy. So that's the data for our kinder and their reading using our AR. Next, I have our STAR report. And so we have first grade here, where they started out at 50% at or above grade level. GL is grade level. We did see a decrease at the first grade level at 39%. But what we did see was a really good growth in our at-risk students. And you'll also notice at the top is our BOI. The benchmark there is 740. In middle of the year, it's 800. So we did move some of those students even higher than the benchmark, but we moved our little at-risk kids that are struggling into the yellow and some of our yellow into the blue. So we're just going to keep working with those kiddos on that. The first grade is a big grade, a big fat grade. So we're working really hard on that. Second grade, they started off super high, 67% were at grade level, and then they grew to 69%. We have several kids that are above that benchmark level. I think it was like 890 is what it was, and we have some kids up in the 900s in their reading level. So great growth in second grade. And third grade, started out again high, 67% at grade level or above, and middle of the year, 73% at grade level with a 6% growth. Again, moving some of those kids that were not at grade level up to grade level, and then, look at that, they're in the thousands. Their benchmark is like 945, and we have several kids that are above the 1,000 on their points there. Fourth grade, again, high again, 69% at or above grade level. At middle of the year, 77% at or above grade level. And again, moving some of those kids that are not at grade level over to the green as well. And then fifth grade, they started out at 56% at or above grade level, and middle of the year, 67% at or above grade level. And then you see that they moved their yellows into the blue and some of their blue into the green. We have one at-risk student there. So they're doing phenomenal with their reading as well. Our last information I just wanted to share with you because I feel I love our interventionists. You know, all of our interventionists are super, super vital. And we were fortunate enough that PED contacted Mrs. Chavita and asked if Hurley Elementary would speak for the Education Committee for the legislative session. And so myself and a parent and my interventionist spoke about the importance and the benefits that we've had for structured literacy. We've also been working on, Ms. Chavita has been working tirelessly with our grants as well as with our interventionists. And so this is just her data of what she's put into our lower grade students and where they are now. So you'll see the current grade level. We have 6 students there. 4 of them are 4th grade, 2 are 5th grade. You'll see the years that she serviced them, what iStation level they are as of now, and where they are on IMESA. So she says 5 out of 6 students are on target in IMESA. 1 student is near target in IMESA. None of the 4th and 5th grade students listed currently receive any interventions from the interventionist. They received their intervention in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd and no longer need the support. As shown by their test scores, 50% of the students that received interventions at an early age are currently scoring above grade level in iStation. The only 4th and 5th grades receiving reading intervention currently are students that were not identified until they were in 3rd grade. They did not begin to receive intervention services until they were in 3rd grade. So some of those kids are the ones that come to us, you know, come up from another school, things like our transfer students. So we know that early intervention, kinder, 1st, 2nd, like that is the key. We know that the gaps get way bigger as they go on. So that's why we love and want to always fight for our interventionists. So this is some of the data that she presented to the legislative committee, the education committee. She is a certified structured literacy dyslexia a teacher. And so she's using Orton Gillingham with those students, and it's a very, very strong scientifically based program that has really worked for our students. So we're just super proud, and I just wanted to acknowledge her data as well because it's moved our students along, and we can see they no longer needed her there in the end. And lastly, we're as right now, today was my first day back. I'm sorry about my attire. I kind of have to dress like this with what I'm going through with my knee, and I'm at my daughter's softball game too. So, I just want to give amazing kudos to my staff because I was gone for 2 weeks and they just didn't skip a beat, and neither did our kids. And they did last week testing without me. I mean, I went in for a little bit in the morning just to make sure it got off great, and it did, and we're completely caught up with our testing and reading. We start math tomorrow. I did come in Monday of last week to meet with my 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students, and I had some data talks with them before they started the test on that Tuesday, and we looked over their data from last year, talked about what strategies they wanted to use, what they used last year because they did really good, and what strategies they were going to use this year. and what their goals were. And so they love looking at their scores, and they've already seen these scores with their teachers. Parent-teacher conference, they have their data folders. But I really wanted to talk with them and encourage them. I knew I wasn't going to be there. And they, kids just love seeing their data. They love making their own goals. I'm hoping that, all of those things are data-driven. Structures that are in place have helped them, but I feel like we got off to a good start with our testing. Do you all have any questions about anything?
Just thank you, and I wanted to apologize again for us missing the board meeting twice at your school. It was not intentional.
No, life happens, right? And thank you guys for I wasn't there to enjoy the donuts, but they did bring me the flowers that you all sent. So thank you all so much for acknowledging that. We do understand that life happens, and it's okay. But thank you for doing. My teachers love donuts. Mr. Corey used to sabotage us with donuts all the time. He'd challenge us to a weight loss and then bring us donuts. So my teachers really appreciated that. You didn't have to do that, but thank you for being so thoughtful about that.
I have a question.
Sure.
First off, a response. This is really good data, and especially the way you're tracking it through the years and the way it sounds in terms of what was presented to the legislature is you can save a lot of money by the interventions in the earlier grades. And I was wondering if anything there that we could pursue with our representatives to say that, this is a place where we need to augment. We need the interventionalists right now throughout the district, throughout the schools, because the circumstances are what they are. But in the future, this is a good way to lessen that expense if we adopt that now and increase the success of our students. That, I'm sure, spills over to behavior, spills over to attendance.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could maybe get together at some point and have some kind of message sent to our legislators and push for that fund, as well as the education committee.
Okay, is that it? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez.
Oh, he's going to trip you. Watch out.
Yes, sir, I did. Thank you.
All right, next is item D, our Snell Middle School Principal, Margaret Begay.
Margaret, you need help?
Good evening, Madam President, school board members, Mr. Corey, Mrs. Chavira. So I just kind of wanted to give a highlight of Snell Middle School, start with our New Mexico Dash Plan. Just the New Mexico Dash Plan is like our goals, where we're at. And so our spring report was teachers will collaborate with colleagues to design, implement, and reflect on intentionally planned engaging lessons, with the end result being at least 6% increase in school-wide student engagement. So we did an engagement survey to our students, just like what are the teachers doing well, what are they not doing so well, we need to increase student engagement. So that was an eye-opener. We did it last month. And so we're going to do a post-survey just to see where we're at for next year and what our goals should be in terms of student engagement. What we've completed this year at this spring at Snell Middle School is we had our first ever ELA literacy night. It was a huge success. Every one of my teachers was present. We had a lot of parents turn out. Our students turned out. It was just something we had never done. It was kind of like, we don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to figure it out. And my staff did really well. We finished our ASR science testing. We finished our first NMENSA ELA testing. And we did a third week incentive assembly and award ceremony. Ongoing activities at Snell Middle School. We have PLCs twice a month. What I do is I do the agenda. I do an understanding of collecting data. We look at student needs, and we communicate with parents about student achievement. And so every other week we meet And this, again, was something new that was implemented this last school year at SNEL. Last year when we had an instructional coach, she did it ongoing, but I felt like we really needed to continue that. And that's been very successful at SNEL. We have after-school programming in collaboration with New Mexico State University. It's mostly STEM related, but we also have tutoring, math, and Spanish twice weekly at SNEL. We also have a great Mesa Club. Mr. Carey, who presented earlier, has done a fantastic job with our students in terms of bringing up that program. Upcoming events here at SNEL is our completion of our mural project in collaboration with 3 local artists. We will have an open house. Tomorrow I will approve the mural for our school. And so that's been ongoing, and that's been really an investment. I applied for this grant last year not knowing if I would receive it or not, and I did. And I'm happy that our kids are going to benefit from it. So our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders have designed the mural, and then tomorrow they will be presenting it to me as well as the artists. We will have our ELA Oral Histories project in collaboration with the Silver City Museum. That's going to be Tuesday, May 7th. Something new that we're doing is Dia de los Niños, and our Spanish department came up to me and said, we really want to do something with the elementaries. We want to promote the mariachi group, and we want to recruit students. And so would you be willing to host it? And I said, of course, let's get it going. So we're going to host, and that's going to be Thursday, May 1st. So that's something new. We do have a transition camp. This will be our 2nd year with that we host the transition camp in collaboration with the New Mexico State University. That'll be May 27th and 28th of this year. We already got our teachers trained, and we'll have ongoing training with that. I did have teachers going to the elementary to recruit students, and then we will have 2 dates where SNEL students will be able to come to SNEL, do their tour and their parents, and then we'll have an evening event as well to recruit more students. We'll finish our New Mexico State testing for math. Then we will do our IMESA short cycle assessment end of the year here, May 6th and May 7th. We'll have our 8th grade field trip, our 8th grade promotional ceremony, and then we'll have our spring concert on May 6th. So those are all upcoming events that you're more than welcome to attend. Some issues this school year. Being a new administrator, you know, we have our share of issues, but I feel like the most severe issues have been our threats to the school site, navigating, our school safety plan, evacuation drills due to a possible gas leak. So I've kind of hit everything in terms of safety this year. You know, I've hit all my drills, my evacuation drill, and also just dealing with chronic absences of numerous students. Several generational families that have historical issues with, not only excessive tardies, but excessive absences, excessive issues within the home. I feel like that's ongoing. And then also cyberbullying outside of the school setting has also been an issue. And it's just ongoing, there's a lot of family issues, dynamics that happen in the home that, I feel like a lot of these experiences have led to these kids missing school. The bullying continues. Something new that I didn't add this, but something new that I've been trained in terms of restorative justice practices is called community conferencing. And I've done that this year with a lot of families. So the parents come with their child, and we meet with them, and myself and Mr. Chavez. Mr. Chavez wasn't as trained like I was, but I've kind of trained him to do it. He's trained extensively in mediation, and I feel like it's helped because the parents come in, the kids come in, we talk about it, we come up with contracts, and we say this is what we're gonna do. This is like a last resort, and so I feel like it's been very helpful that we do that. I have to be careful, though, because I'm a principal and I lay down the law and I hand down discipline, but I feel like I can shift my role a little bit and do that in terms of that community conferencing. I feel like our success stories in the back is I feel like I'm in my second year as an administrator, but I feel like we're coming a long way. My staff shows up every day. I took some time off when my mom passed away, and I didn't have to worry. Like Ms. Martinez says, when you can take time off and ensure that your school is still running, you've done something right. And so my staff, I call to them. They're always there. Structures and routines are in place. The kids love structure. The staff loves structure. The kids want to be there. They want to be safe. Consistency with expectations and discipline. Again, I feel what's successful with my staff is the PLCs and open communication. Sometimes they just need to vent biweekly and let me know which kids are acting up in the classrooms. I feel like planning with co-teachers and peer-to-peer planning. Once a month, every one of my teachers can plan with their co-teachers. And I feel like that's successful in itself because they don't get that opportunity all the time. And co-teaching with SPED teachers, I have to highlight this a little bit because I've talked to Mr. Corey and I said I wasn't a fan of it, but I said I'm going to do it. And I think it's been very successful. I mean, of course, we have those parents and those kids that say, I can't do it, but it's seamless. And you can go into my school and walk into numerous classrooms and you can't tell the difference. And my SPED population is answering and they have the confidence to answer now because they're getting the same rigor, and they're building up their stamina. And we're ensuring that these kids are prepared for high school, as they should be. Another thing with discipline, when there's routines in place, there's expectations, your discipline goes down. When you're in classrooms, and I'm in classrooms a lot, and not only just saying, you know what, I'm making my rounds, but the kids know I'm in the building. We've had no vaping incidents since January 27th. No fights since February the 5th of this year. And I mean, it's come a long way. Do we have a ways to go? Absolutely. I didn't bring my data because we're testing. April's pretty much, but I'm gonna tell you, my ELA is gonna go up. My math's gonna go up because students are in my building and they're showing up and they're learning and they're being held accountable. I do want to highlight and talk about my interventionist, Mrs. Hartman. She's a great asset to my team. My students are leveling up. We do shout outs all the time, but kids are reading books. And of course, they would love to be on their devices, not reading books, but they are actually reading books and leveling up. Do you have any questions of myself?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
On the ELA, I'm sorry, let's see, the PLC, sorry. What's the participation from the community?
PLCs is a professional learning community, so it's mostly with teachers.
Okay.
But we have had, for example, I'm glad you asked this question. REC, I didn't know about, I can teach ELA small group interventionists or interventions because I was an interventionist. I don't know math. There's some things that I don't know, and so I brought in REC, and they came in and did a day just with my staff to teach them how to do interventions. We had beyond textbooks in the building, helping them with their curriculum. And so if I need a strategy modeled or something, I'm always looking to REC to come down and do anything with my teachers.
And is there much interaction with the parents?
In terms of the professional learning community?
Or some have PTOs, I think they call them.
Okay, so the PAC, yes, we do have that at SNL. We're building it up, but PLCs is the professional learning community with teachers. The PAC is the parent advisory committee. Yes, it's up and running. We meet once a month. We just had our last one last month with our 8th grade. We put it on ThrillShare, and the parents are much involved with the 8th grade promotion and the field trip this year.
And I just kind of want to reflect on when we did go up to SNL, the environment is so vastly improved over before you got there. And I'm glad to see that you're going forward with a mural to go in that direction. And I think that is very impactful on the students and the community as well. So what is the mural going to be about?
I won't know till tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow I'll approve it. The kids are going to present it to myself. And so I'll approve it, but I heard it's going to be highlighting the mining district. And so I'm excited. And then it'll be done here in May. So we'll have an open house.
Who's the art?
All this, everybody that's in the art class. So our 6th graders, our 7th graders, and our 8th graders.
They'll actually be doing the mural?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right, that moves us to item 6B, issues regarding the softball fields. The need for a booth for entry gate person. Mr. Guadiana, I believe you asked for these items to be on the agenda.
There was, anytime you drive up to outdoor sports, there's, with the exception of the one booth that we have, baseball field, the gate people, the people that take the gate money, gate receipts are improvising, either with a chair and a table, or bringing their truck and try to hide from the rain and or wind. And in this case, the last week, there was a very strong wind and it moved, it actually damaged the gatekeeper's vehicle where the door would not close. The wind pushed it so hard in the opposite direction, so she needed help getting it. I think she actually had to hold the door when she drove home, and I had encouraged her to submit a bill to the school for the repairs of that. But the ongoing question is clear. We have a very clear discrepancy in terms of Title IX, particularly in baseball and softball. There's some things that we certainly having the ability to use capital funds. I understand $800,000 is available now, but because of the issue of being behind on the audits, we can't access that money. However, there are things that are less expensive. For instance, the netting behind the batters.
Can we stay on this one topic and then we'll go down your list? Is that okay?
Okay, we're talking about the softball field right now.
Right, but the first item is the need for a booth for an entry gate person. Will you allow Mr. Corey to speak to that? And then we can go to your next item where you have them listed.
Sure.
Go ahead, Mr. Corey.
So what I would like to say is I'm in 100% agreement with you that I've kind of felt bad that our people have been out in the elements. I checked in with our maintenance department and we got costs, and they have the skills to be able to build this. And what we counted was 4. We're going to need 4, 2 football, 1 for baseball, 1 for softball. So what we decided on is we're actually going to build 2, but they're going to be mobile. And so they would be able to be moved, depending on season, to whichever facility, of course, needs those. So talked with Mr. Ryan today. We have funding available. It's amazing when you have the people with the right skill set. It's pretty much the cost of the materials. They're not going to cost very much. And 2 booths are going to be constructed here probably within the next week.
Good. I appreciate that, and I'm sure they do even more so.
I agree.
Okay, you can go to the next one. Unsafe area behind the bleachers.
There are kids that are just running up and down that, and it's very slippery. There's exposed rocks. There's just so many ways that people can fall, and they play up on the top of that and run down it, and all that's all great. And I think they're being watched to a certain degree, but even then they have incoming from the field where the fall balls come up through that. And that would be an area that we could address, I think, relatively quickly, is just by putting a net that goes over the top to stop from the farthest most corners of the existing net that will create a canopy over the batter's box, and that'll stop the balls from coming back into the spectators for that, especially up there where the little kids are. I'm hoping that could be one way to remedy that. If there's more, then I think it's needed. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's a netting on top of that. But the bleachers are very small. They don't fit the need of the people that go there. And if there's some way to enhance that need where, enhance the bleachers where there could be more sitting and more availability for children to sit and be in front of their parents, I think that would work very well.
And those are all planned into that project of $800,000. And so the goal would be for that project to definitely be completed by next softball season.
Okay. That's good to hear. That's it. That's what I have for that.
Okay, and then I think we answered item C, gate worker shelter at north end of the baseball field and both gates for the football field and track areas because they're going to be mobile.
So is there a possibility that, for instance, there'd be a track meet, a baseball game, a softball game at the same time?
We don't charge at track meets, so
Okay.
there's no money collected at track meets. So again, we went through that this morning on where those areas are. And like I mentioned before, 2 at football games and then only 1 at baseball and 1 at softball. So if we do build 2 units, it will be able to cover all the needs of the district.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that moves us to item 7. Executive session notice is hereby given so that the Cobre Board of Education will meet in executive session for the following purposes as permitted under the New Mexico Open Meetings Act. Item A, pursuant to section 10-15-1H2, limited personnel matters, specifically to continue discuss working relationships between the superintendent and the board and review the superintendent's contract, including requests from superintendent regarding changes in compensation and benefits or contract term. Item B, so that the superintendent can update and discuss limited personnel matters as permitted under section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Opens Meeting Act, specifically the hiring, promotion, demotion, dismissal, assignment, or resignation of, or the investigation of employees of the superintendent. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for the reasons just listed.
I move that we go into executive session.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do a roll call vote. Mrs. Harden? Vice President Heredia?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Secretary Terrazas?
Yes.
And Mr. Guadiana?
Yes.
Okay, we are now in executive. We discussed the matters as set forth in the agenda for executive session, except the hiring, promotion, demotion, dismissal, resignation, and it was limited to the assignment, and then the investigation of employees of the superintendent. I want to also make a statement affirming no action was taken in executive session, and I'll entertain a motion to come back in.
I move that we come back into open session.
Okay, is there a second? All right, I'll go ahead and do a roll call vote. Mrs. Harden? Vice President Heredia?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Secretary Terrazas?
Yes.
All right, that moves us to item 8, our action items. Item A, discussion and possible approval of negotiated changes to superintendent contract, including to compensation, benefits, and/or contract term. No action is needed on this tonight. So this moves us to item B, approval of the 2025 district open meetings resolution. And I have to read it in its entirety, so bear with me. No, it's on here. So the Cobre Consolidated School District Board of Education Open Meetings Resolution. Whereas the Cobre Consolidated School District Board of Education met in regular session at the Cobre Administration Boardroom at 900 Central Avenue, Bayard, New Mexico on April 7th, 2025 at 5 p.m. and as required by law. And whereas Section 10-15-1B of the Open Meetings Act, NMSA 1978, Sections 10-15-1 to 10-15-4, states that except as may be otherwise provided in the Constitution or the provisions of the Open Meetings Act, all meetings of a quorum of members of any board, council, commission, administrative, adjudicatory body, or other policy-making body of any state or local public agency held for the purpose of formulating public policy, including the development of personal policy, rules or regulations, discussing public business, or for the purpose of taking any action within the authority of or the delegated authority of such body, are declared to be public meetings open to the public at all times. And whereas any meeting subject to the Opens Meeting Act at which the discussion or adoption of any proposed resolution, rule, regulation, or formal actions occurs shall be held only after reasonable notice to public. And whereas Section 10-15-1D of the Open Meetings Act requires the Cobre Consolidated District Board of Education to determine annually what constitutes reasonable notice of its public meetings. Now therefore be it resolved by the Cobre Consolidated District Board of Education that all meetings shall be held at the boardroom located at 900 Central Avenue in Bayard, New Mexico at 5 p.m. or as indicated in the meeting notice. Item 2, unless otherwise specified, regular meetings shall be held each month on the second and fourth Mondays. The agenda for the meeting will be available at least 72 hours prior to the meeting from the superintendent, whose office is located at 900 Central Avenue in Bayard, New Mexico. The agenda will also be posted in the lobby of the Cobre Administration Superintendent Office and on the school district's website at www.cobreschools.org. Item 3, notice of any regular meetings other than those described in paragraph 2 will be given 10 days in advance of the meeting date. The notice shall include an agenda or information on how a copy of the agenda may be obtained if not included in the notice. The agenda will be available through the Office of Superintendent located at 900 Central Avenue in Bayard, New Mexico, and posted on the school district's website at www.cobreschools.org at least 72 hours before the meeting. Item 4, special meetings may be called by the president or a majority of the members upon 3 days' notice. The notice for special meetings shall include an agenda for the meeting or information information on how members of the public may obtain a copy of the agenda. The agenda will be made available through the Office of Superintendent, located at 900 Central Avenue in Bayard, New Mexico, and posted on the school district's website at www.cobreschools.org at least 72 hours before the meeting. Item 5, emergency meetings will be called only in an instance of unforeseen circumstances that demand immediate action to protect the health, safety, and property of citizens of the Cobre Consolidated School District, or to protect the district from substantial financial loss, and which, if not addressed immediately by the board, will likely result in injury or damage to the persons or property or substantial financial loss to the school district. The Cobre Consolidated School District Board of Education will avoid emergency meetings whenever possible. Emergency meetings may be called by the president or a majority of the members of the board with 24 hours prior notice unless threat of injury or damage to persons or property requires less notice. The notice for all emergency meetings shall include an agenda for the meeting or information on how the public may attend a copy of the agenda within 10 days of taking action on an emergency matter. The board shall report to the Attorney General's office the action taken and the circumstances creating the emergency, provided that the requirement to report to the Attorney General is waived upon the declaration of a state or national emergency. Item 6, for the purpose of regular meetings described in paragraph 3 of this resolution, notice requirements are met if the notice of the date, time, and place and agenda is faxed to the local newspaper, the Silver City Daily Press, and is posted in the following locations: the lobby of the Cobre Administration Superintendent Office, and on the school district's website at www.cobreschools.org. Copies of the written notice shall be mailed to those broadcast stations licensed by the Federal Communications Commission and newspapers of general circulations which have made a written request for notice of public meetings. Item 7, for the purposes of special meetings and emergency meetings described in paragraph 4 and 5 of this resolution, notice requirements shall be met by posting notice of the date, time, place, and agenda at the lobby of the Cobre Administration Superintendent Office and on the school district's website at www.cobreschools.org. Telephone or fax notices shall be given to those broadcast stations licensed by the Federal Communications Commission and newspapers of general circulation that have made a written request for the notice of public meetings. In addition to the information specified above, all notices shall include the following language. If you are an individual with a disability who is in need of a reader, amplifier, qualified sign language interpreter, or any form of auxiliary aid or service to attend or participate in the hearing or meeting, please contact the superintendent at 900 Central Avenue, Bayard, New Mexico, at least 1 week prior to the meeting or as soon as possible. Public documents, including the agenda and minutes, can be provided in various access formats. Please contact the superintendent at 900 Central Avenue, Bayard, New Mexico, if a summary or other type of accessible format is needed. Item 9, the Cobre Consolidated School District Board of Education may close a meeting to the public only if the subject matter of such discussion or action is exempted from the open meeting requirement under section 10-15-1 H of the Open Meetings Act. Need a break. Item A, if any meeting is closed during an open meeting, such closure shall be approved by a majority vote of a quorum of the Cobre Consolidated School District Board of Education taken during the open meeting. The authority for the closure and the subjects to be discussed shall be stated within reasonably specificity in the motion for closure, and the vote on closure of each individual member shall be recorded in the minutes. Only those subjects specified in the motion may be discussed in closed meeting. If the discussion to hold a closed meeting is made when the Cobre Consolidated District Board of Education is not in an open meeting, the closed meeting shall be held until public notice appropriate under the circumstances, stating the specific provision of law authorizing the closed meeting, and the subjects to be discussed with reasonable specificity is given to the members and to the general public. Following completion of any closed meetings, the minutes of the open meeting that was closed, or the minutes of the next open meeting, if the closed meeting was separately scheduled, shall state whether the matters discussed in the closed meeting were limited only to those specified in the motion or the notice for closure. Item D, except as provided in section 10-15-1H of the Open Meetings Act, any action taken as a result of discussions in the closed meeting shall be made by the vote of the Cobre Consolidated District Board of Education in open public meeting. Item 10, the Cobre School Board of Education recognizes that in a small community, board members will occasionally attend social events, community functions, school activities or programs, athletic events, or meetings of other groups or entities, or be present at local commercial establishments. In the event of a quorum of the membership of the board is present on such occasions, a violation of this resolution and the Open Meetings Act does not occur so long as the board members do not discuss school business or prospective board actions as described in this resolution. By adoption of this resolution, each board member represents and agrees to abide by these limitations and not to engage in such discussions outside the context of a properly called board meeting, which complies with the Open Meetings Act. Item 11, the Cobre Consolidated School Board of Education invites the viewpoints of citizens throughout the district and considers the responsibility presentation of these viewpoints vital to the effective operation of the district. The board also recognizes its responsibility for the proper governance of the schools and therefore the need to conduct its business in an orderly and efficient manner. When public comment is included on the board agenda of any open meeting of the board, any individual desiring to address the board shall comply with the established board policies and procedures for public comment at board meetings. All right. Read it all. Any questions, any discussion? And no, I will not read it again.
Maybe you should, because I didn't hear anything about making, in the notices, giving instruction on how to log on to our remote access providers.
It said if there was any question about how to access agenda, meeting, or minutes to contact the office of the superintendent.
Okay. Couldn't we, because now it is a requirement, it just seems like it would be. Mhm. Okay, but I think we could go just that step farther to put it actually in the notice.
It's up to the board. I mean, it's part of our new school board rules that we have to live stream our meetings if possible.
Actually, it's statutory requirement.
I'm okay as it is. I don't know what everyone else's desire is. I think people know that we have a live stream. It's on the on the agenda. As Mr. Guadiana said, it's required by law, and it has the link for both YouTube and Google Meet. What are everyone else's thoughts?
And like Mr. Corey added, it's on every agenda. The link is on there.
Board Member Hardin or Board Member Derasas, do you want to weigh in?
I feel that the agenda as presented, I mean, prior to me being on the board, I would just easily go to the YouTube if I had any questions. I could go to Google Meet prior to my appointment to the board. So.
Or go to Mr. Corey, like it says, it stays on.
My parents watch every single meeting by just knowing the agenda, like seeing it on the agenda and clicking the YouTube link.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the 2025 district open meetings resolution as read.
I move that we approve the 2025 district open meetings resolution as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Yes. But the date needs to be corrected. So do you want to? correct the date, and then we'll sign it. If you want to do that now before we. All right, that moves us to item C, approval of our regular board meeting minutes of February 24th, 2025, and the special board meeting minutes of March 26, 2025. Is there any discussion?
No.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the regular board meeting minutes of February 24, 2025, and the special board meeting minutes of March 26, 2025.
Okay, do I have a second? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, that passes. Item H, approval of first reading of policy advisories 246 through 260. Charlene, are these the ones from the NMSBA? Okay. And they are on the website? So you need our approval to put them on there, okay? But we need to make sure they're on the website so people, if people have comment, they can make comments. So we need to do that. And then I think, I don't know who we have listed if they have questions. Is it me? Okay, so that's, okay, I'll be on the lookout then if there's anything. So I'll entertain a motion for approval of the first reading.
I don't know if it's actually approval of the reading, it's making the information available for the reading. And that's when you give it a certain period of time that they're open for comments, and if not, then you move on to the second reading. But then that would go for a certain period of time, and then it would be approved. Actually, it would come back for us for approval.
Okay, so no action is needed on this item then until it's posted on the website?
Yeah, just the instruction to post it on the website.
Okay, that moves it.
And you could also declare the time for people to respond to it in terms of this first reading.
What did we do on the other one, Charlene? The time limit or the time frame?
The 10 days?
Yeah, 2 weeks would work.
Okay, that works. 2 weeks, and then they'll have another 2 weeks for second reading. All right, that moves us to item 9, our Finance Committee report. We have not met. We are scheduled to meet tomorrow at 4:15. It's a lengthy agenda. They are open to the public, so if anyone like to attend, they're more than welcome. Moves us to item 10, Audit Committee report. Item A, update on special audit, submission of annual audits, all 4 of them, and begin phase 2 of the special audit. So I know we can't go into extreme detail because of the confidentiality, but if you could provide us an update, Vice President Heredia, and I don't know if Mr. Corey could also help with this too.
And we haven't had a meeting either since our last board meeting, if I'm correct, right? Okay, because our last meeting got canceled. So pretty much everything we discussed was in closed session, so really not much of an update that we can give here.
Okay.
We're progressing forward.
Okay.
There's information that's open to public, such as any submittals that have been done of the previous audits, not noting the content, but has there been any submittals of any of the previous audits that were open?
Have we submitted any?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Which ones?
22.
22? And when was that?
Our last meeting was 3 weeks ago.
And the status on the rest of them? Is there a
Status of
status of the rest of them? When is it expected that they would be turned in?
Well, Well, again, it's kind of hard to say that as far as the turned in and complete. So we get into where we submit things, which we are currently doing right now, and then sometimes that generates 5 more things, and it's kind of a back and forth process just around many times. So we're working diligently on getting all of that submitted. So I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks that all of that will be submitted.
Okay, and the last question is, do we have any updates on the status of the special audit, the first special audit? No expected release? And
Give one.
it's,
Yeah, that hasn't been shared with me.
Our auditor hasn't given a date for that.
and so it's in the auditor's hands and it's not in the state auditor's office?
22 is in the state auditor's office, not the special one.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for the update. That moves us to item 11, our board members' reports. I'd like to start if that's okay. I just want to thank you all for attending the board retreat. I thought it was very beneficial. I just hope we can remember that we need to be focused on the task at hand. And if we can remember, we're here to serve the community. So it's very important that we're fully participate. And that goes for everything going forward, that we try to be as present as possible. But I felt like it was very productive. We got to see everyone's leadership style and how people view things from a different point of view. I also think we got to get to know each other a little bit better. And so that was really nice. And then I look forward with continuing the work on establishing some board norms that are our own and fine tuning them. And as Mr. Terrazas had said, maybe having a board retreat quarterly or a spring and fall, just so we're constantly in communication. And so I thought it was really great. And then I just wanted to congratulate the cheerleading team on being state champions. So, Vice President Heredia.
I'm just going to echo what President Viguez said. Thank you, everyone, for coming to the board retreat. It was really nice, very productive. They provided us with a lot of information. It was very useful, and it was nice to see kind of the reason behind why we are the way we are in this capacity. So it was nice, and I think they showed us a lot of neat things, and I would love to do that again, and I look forward to having the opportunity to do that again. And also want to congratulate the cheer team on bringing back a state championship and their coaches. It was incredible to see, and they're the first team this year to bring home the blue, so that's awesome. And also to the powerlifting teams that made it all the way to state, and to all of the kids placed. And thank you to all of the principals and directors that came tonight and presented their wonderful data to us. And to Mrs. Chavita and Charlene and everybody that's getting ready for the Teacher of the Year banquet, and for all of the teachers and principals, because this is the busiest time of the year when we're trying to wrap up and get everything ready. And it can be very overwhelming when it comes to the end. So thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Harden, would you like to report anything?
I think you said it, you covered it, so thank everybody.
Great, thank you. Secretary Terrazas?
Yeah, same thing, just echo what you and Vice President commented on. Also, congratulations to the Cobre Cheer. We made strides in our student athletes in sports this year. We went up to St. Michael's and come back with the championship, at the St. Mike's tournament. That's a tough tournament. When we coached it in 2007 to 2010, that's a tough tournament. And, the boys battled and they come back with a W powerlifting. We had a state champion, individual state champion in Maddie Perez. So congratulations to her. And just think I just thank the coaches and the the volunteer coaches that are helping our student athletes succeed. So thank everybody for that. That's it.
Board Member Guadiana?
I echo all the responses and the accolades for all the student achievements throughout the district. And also in the retreat, there was a very unified recognition of the people that have brought forth the performance in academia. A lot of our scores went up double digits. Actually, even way up to 40, still having challenges in the math area, but overall shows the sign of the capacity at the individual schools that has brought forward good progress for our students. Nice to recognize the sports and is well worthwhile, but it's an added pleasure to recognize the academic performance.
Okay, anything else? All right, that moves us to item 12, Superintendent's Report. Item A, fundraisers.
So as always, fundraisers are in your packet for your guys' review, but I wanted to give you a quick update and a shout out here for Maddie too. So she is a 2-time state champion in powerlifting. And I want to kind of give you guys an update. I made some decisions for you. In the past, when we've had athletic teams do very well, I know we've done shirts in the past. So we actually have our girls basketball team, our cheerleading team as state champions, and we grabbed Maddie and threw her into the group here. So shirts is what we've done in the past as a board, as a district, as recognition for them. What I decided was, you wear a shirt for a year and that shirt is gone. I as a coach, one of my favorite things that I've had are photos. So we reached out to Pieces of Life and we asked them to do photos for these athletes and with their state championship trophies. And they are now doing what I call the fire pictures. So this my request is I want the cheerleaders with their state championship trophy and their pom-pom on fire. So they're doing those photos, and I think they're actually starting this week, Thursday. Those first photos are going to happen. What I want them then to come to the board, or those photos will bring the athletes in for you guys to be able to present them to them like we did the shirts before. So I was wanting something that they could have forever instead of a shirt that they won't have for however long.
Because it doesn't fit when you go to college and you come back home.
Right. But if you tell a high school kid, I've got a photo for you to put on your social media, they're really excited about that. So I thought this was kind of a neat idea, and we'll see how it works out, and maybe this will be our thing now. But we have sessions set up, of course, for our cheerleading team, for the girls basketball team, for their district champion, and also second place. And then we grabbed Maddie real quick also to put her in for her 2-time powerlifting championship. So here in the next few board meetings, hopefully those photos will come in and then we'll have the athletes come.
Sounds great. Thank you, Mr. Corey.
You're welcome.
Okay, that moves us to item 13, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned at 7:57.
Dinner before